I've wanted to hike up to the top of this mountain ever since I moved to Montana 3 years ago. I thought the biggest challenge would be the elevation. I was wrong. It turned out that the hardest part of this hike was only a half-mile long, and I wasn't even sure we were going to make it to the top. We go up there. Let's see how it goes. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I love checking things off of my hiking bucket list. Ever since I moved to Montana, there's been one local mountain that's been quietly waiting for me, and that's Lolo Peak. Every summer, I tell myself, maybe this is the year I finally hike up to the top. And then I'd come up with a bunch of excuses for why I don't. I'm hiking or backpacking somewhere out of state. There's still snow on top of Lolo. I don't want to hike this one alone. And honestly, the 8-mile Forest Service road to get to the trailhead kind of makes me nervous. Eventually I realized I wasn't waiting because I couldn't do it. I was waiting because I'd gotten way too comfortable with putting this hike off. So this weekend, I finally stopped waiting for the perfect time and decided to see what this mountain was really about. Today, I wasn't hiking this one alone and would be heading up the trail with my bestie, who's also named Kathleen. Before we even started hiking, I knew exactly which part of this trail everyone kept warning me about. Lolo Peak sits at just over 9,100 feet, and getting up there isn't just a walk in the park. From the trailhead, it's a little over 14 miles round trip with over 4,700 feet of elevation gain. But it's not the mileage or the elevation gain that worries me. After reading trip reports on all trails and talking to other hikers who had done this one before, everyone warned me about the same thing, that half-mile climb from Carlton Lake up to the fall summit. The hike up to Carlton Lake is beautiful. From the trailhead, we started with a steady climb through an old burn area along a really nice established trail. It was pretty straightforward with beautiful views all around us. On our way up the trail, I couldn't help but think maybe people were just exaggerating on how difficult this trail was. So far, the hike up is warm and up, but fun, super fun. It's a very exposed trail. There was a fire that came through here at some point, so not a lot of shade, and it's supposed to be pretty hot today. I know at least 95 down in the valley. There are no clouds in the sky, just a lot of sunshine and very little breeze. So one of the things that I was kind of nervous about was hiking up all this elevation and the heat and all the exposure. But slowly but surely we're getting up there, and I think I definitely want to take a dip in the lake at some point. Alright, just dunked in the water, had a little lunch, and now we go up there. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully there's less bugs. We made it to Carlton Lake, and after the heat and exposure we had just hiked up through, getting into the cold water felt amazing. But we hadn't come all this way just to stop at the lake. That was it. That was the half-mile section everyone had warned me about. From Carlton Lake, the beautiful established trail ended. And this is the section of the hike I'd been hearing about for months. From here, the trail turned into a choose-your-own-adventure experience. There wasn't really a trail anymore. The general direction was up, so we just had to figure out how to get up there. At times, there was kind of a trail, but then it would disappear. There were a lot of tree roots, rocks, boulders, and even a couple snowfields to navigate up and around. And it was steep. We're making our way, and it's very buggy. Physically, it was tough navigating through the steep, rocky terrain, and mentally, it was exhausting trying to decide which way to go. This section of the hike was only a half-mile long, but it gained a little over 1,000 feet. And to be honest, this part of the hike humbled me. It was hard. Not because I wasn't physically strong enough, but because every step required an intense level of concentration. Most of the way up, my inner voice was constantly trying to convince me to turn around and head back down to the lake. But I kept heading up anyway. After waiting 3 years to do this hike, I just wasn't ready to quit. Not yet. Physically, that half mile was the hardest hiking I've ever done in Montana. But mentally, what made it so difficult was the uncertainty. After reaching the falls summit, I thought the hardest part was behind us, and I was so relieved. But we still had another mile to go before reaching the true summit of Lolo Peak. As if the hike up to the falls summit wasn't hard enough, as soon as we got to the top, we started hearing thunder off in the distance. Looking toward the Bitterroot Mountains, we could see a storm moving through the area. For a few minutes, I thought this might be the end of our summit attempt and that we'd have to turn around. It was one of those moments where we had to decide, were we going to turn around or would we keep going? You know, it was not on my bingo card today. It was hiking up into a storm. We took a look at the forecast, we're watching the clouds, and it's going that way. It's not going to go over us because our hike is over there. It's just going beside us. No big deal. Weather does change pretty quickly up in the mountains, so we gotta always be prepared. Let's get her done. After 3 years, here I was standing on top of the falls summit. The storm had passed us by and the sun had come back out. And we had 1 more mile of straightforward ridgeline walking between us and the true summit. And the storm didn't even go over us. It went away from us. A couple little sprinkles, a couple little rumbling of the clouds. Breeze picked up, and it's a warm breeze. 3 years in the making, and I'm finally doing this. I'm finally doing this. Bitterroots. Pile of rocks here, just have to trust that this is the top, the official top of Lolo Peak. Yay. And that is the falls summit. So we hike down, hike up, and then hike all the way down. All right, hike is only half over. Now we gotta do the second half. All the way up there and beyond. Just like that, we're back on a traily trail. No more route finding, no more scrambling. Just 3/4 of a mile uphill, and then the rest of it is literally all downhill for the next 4.5 miles. I really want a burger. I feel so accomplished. That was so hard, but I'm glad I did it. All the larches! All the larches. They're so beautiful. I'm so tired. I haven't been this tired from a hike in a long time. Feels really good. It's finally the part of the hike where it is literally all downhill. Oh my God, I needed a real big butt kicking today, and this trail delivered. I am so so tired. Right now we're at 10.5 miles. I think by the time we get back to the trailhead, it'll be a total of 14. And I'm so looking forward to hiking downhill. Oh my God, made it. I'm so tired, I'm so thirsty, I'm so hungry, but I feel so accomplished. What was interesting about this hike was that the hardest part wasn't the elevation, the mileage, or even the weather. It was the uncertainty. There wasn't always a trail to follow, and the way up towards the fall summit wasn't always obvious. I realized maybe that's what had been making me so nervous about this hike all along. Not knowing exactly what kind of condition the trail would be in. Not knowing if I'd be able to find and stay on the route. Not knowing if I'd be able to make it to the top, and not knowing if I was ready to hike this one. Looking back, I don't think I waited 3 years to hike this one because I couldn't do it. I think I waited because I wanted everything about this hike to be perfect. Perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect weather, perfect amount of confidence, and as little snow travel as possible. If I had kept waiting for everything to be perfect before hiking this one, I'd probably still be looking up at Lolo Peak instead of standing on top of it. Would I hike up to Lolo Peak again? Honestly, I don't know. This one was really tough, both mentally and physically. I think if I were to do this one again, I'd wait until all of the snow up there had melted. The half-mile route finding section was just as challenging as everyone had warned me it would be. Am I glad I stopped putting this one off and finally hiked up there anyway? Absolutely. Sometimes finally finishing the thing you've been thinking about doing for years is even more satisfying than you could ever imagine. Over 11 hours after leaving the trailhead, tired, dirty, thirsty, and hungry, I finally checked this one off of my Montana bucket list. This unfinished business was finally finished. On to the next adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy trails, and keep on trucking. Definitely keeping that in.